Hi, Jan. My name's Al Hamill. I posted in the Cult of Pedagogy about the CommonLit, and you requested this information. So I'm going to try to do it in one short video, but as I go and I improvise through this um, presentation, there's a good chance I'll send you like a couple links. So I'm using Screencastify in order to do this, and I'll upload actually the links to YouTube, and then you can feel free to share them with your colleagues or friends or anyone. But I will mark them as unlisted just so that it just remains a little less traffic. I'm not into YouTubing all that much. Okay, so I sympathize with you in that when I first was introduced to CommonLit, I was like, no, this is no good. And this last year, I don't know if it became good or I opened my eyes to the possibilities, but here we go. So when I log in with, I'm going to close out this video. When I log in with my school Google account because we are a Google school. And the beauty now is that the CommonLit links to all my Google Classrooms. So you'll notice over here, I have my Google Classes set up, and I wanted to show you how I set that up in Google Classroom just in case you use it. For my regular English 10 classes, I was able to tie in, this is going to keep popping, I think. My assignments for Catcher in the Rye directly. So you'll see chapters 1 through 6 in CL, which means CommonLit, and you'll see this pattern throughout. This STLWFM is save the last word for me, and I'm not sure if you've heard of that circle protocol, but I highly recommend you use that. That was a game changer. In 25 years of teaching, I've never had my classes consistently, every single student consistently engaged in the classroom conversations. It was just super powerful, and my kids actually requested it and they liked it. So I'm going to go back to CommonLit to give you an idea of how this works. So let's pretend you're going in for the first time and you go into browse content, and let's look it up by book. And there's book pairings you'll notice here. So I'm going to click on view all. And as you go through, I used it for To Kill a Mockingbird, and it was fairly successful. But by the time I used it for Catcher in the Rye, it was super successful. So the easiest way to do that is to search, and there's Catcher in the Rye because I've already used it. And what's nice about it is it's book pairings, right? So when I click on Catcher in the Rye, and I scroll through, and I see there's this John Updike, and it's 11th grade level with a 1250 Lexile, which is kind of helpful. I ended up choosing excerpt from a portrait of the artist as a young man. I ended up using Teenage Brains Are Malleable. And you'll notice it's 8th grade and it's 10th grade. In 8th grade, we did At the Window. We did Depression, The Secret We Share. We did Emily Dickinson's I Felt a Funeral in My Brain. So I linked all of those in there. And what's nice is, let's click on this Teenage Brains Are Malleable. The students were particularly engaged in the nonfiction text. Sorry, this keeps popping up. There's an annotation tool. There's a read aloud tool for the kids who might be, below grade level or might need accommodations. There's guiding questions. And I like this piece because when I use this for guiding questions, my students work in groups. Usually in my class, we use kind of a workshop model, and I kind of beg, borrow, and steal from the Readers Writers Workshop for my middle school days. The guiding questions, the students work individually in class, and they can't move on until they answer Q1. So everything below Q1 is grayed out until they answer it. And that's nice. So the students are all forced to read it independently or listen to it, depending on that. And then I allow the students to go back and answer the assessment questions as their group. So they're discussing the answers to all these questions. Again, the guiding questions are all individual, and the assessment questions are all group oriented. So it's a transition from that individual to group. And then I'm walking around and monitoring or finding issues and solving those issues, either as a class and capitalizing on teachable moments, or even I can work mini lessons into this situation. So that's a nice piece. And then also what's nice is the discussion portal. So we end up our class from the kids go guided. We have 1.5 hour blocks, by the way. So they go guided questions, they do assessment questions, and then we end every single class with a discussion. And I kind of follow through that. This video is not for, it just shows you how to lead effective discussions. And oftentimes there's more than one. So this will help you think about things rather than have to think of it, come up with stuff on your own. It's all set there. Additionally, within this assignment, there are opportunities for paired texts. So there are more. If you wanted to expand, perhaps the kids were excited about about this text right here, and they would start asking really meaningful questions. You might consider assigning one of these guys the next day as a follow-up. There's also related media. I would recommend that you watch the media before you share it with the class. Don't just trust it. Even though CommonLit is put together by professionals, I did one unit and I went through and previewed it, and it dealt with the the Middle East, Abu Ghraib prisoners. And it had really graphic images. And I think if I was a parent and a teacher did that in class, I would feel more comfortable having that with my own child at home. But I am pretty open-minded, but I'm also sensitive to the conservative values of our community. So you definitely want to preview these before you get into it. There's an answer key for each of those, so you have an idea what the correct answers are. And then this is also cool, and I'm going to start using this next year with the parent guide. In Google Classroom, I use the Guardian reports that can either be sent daily or automatically every Friday, and they're sent automatically daily. It's up to the parents to get them. And I think I'm going to start putting parent guides to include my parents in on this. And it's pretty neat because it just gives them like table talk if families want to sit down and have conversations or they have the opportunity to drive together or whatnot. It's a cool opportunity. So that's how all that works. But I'm going to stop this video right here so you can just get an idea and then you can play around. And then the next video I'm going to create is how I collect data. And it's been super helpful for our PLC group.